Coming up on this edition of Out of the Blue, MTSU science-related programs move to the forefront with the fall opening of the $147 million science building. MTSU President Sydney A. McPhee describes this state-of-the-art facility as a jewel of the MTSU campus. But if you haven't had a chance to visit since its opening, don't worry. In this edition, we'll get the inside look. Or perhaps you're wondering what goes on within the research laboratories where compounds are critiqued and molecules are magnified. MTSU faculty and students in our biology and chemistry programs will explain. MTSU Sciences are in the spotlight, coming up on this edition of Out of the Blue. Hello and welcome to this latest edition of Out of the Blue. I'm Chris Davis. Open less than a year, MTSU Science Building still has a bit of new on it. With 250,000 square feet of space, this building offers students an excellent opportunity to gain a world-class education in the sciences. And keep in mind, 80% of MTSU students are expected to have a class in the building at some point during their academic careers. Watch as Chemistry Department Chair Greg Van Patten and student Morgan Massengill take us on a tour of this impressive facility.
I'm Morgan Massengill, and we're standing in the middle of the new science building. Now, this building is about 250,000 square feet, so we have a lot of ground to cover. Dr. Greg Van Patten is going to give us a tour of the building.
One of the great things about this new building is the classroom spaces and the technology in the classroom spaces. We've got 6 lecture halls in here, and I'll show you the first one here in the lobby. So this is the medium-sized classroom in the new building. It seats 75 students, and there's a lot of new technology in this classroom. There are big screen TVs on the back wall there that the students can be looking at. The professor can lecture from a desktop computer, or there are floor inputs where they can use a laptop or an iPhone or an iPad even to control their lecture. There's a camera mounted in the back of the classroom and another one in the front of the classroom so that we can record a lecture, post it, make it available to students. So next I'd like to take you to the MTSU Imaging and Microanalysis Center. And this is the scanning electron microscope, and these electron microscopes that are here are used to look at items that are too small to see with a light microscope. So we can magnify things almost to the point where we can see individual atoms in the sample. Now, these 2 microscopes are used primarily by the biology department, but there are also chemists and physicists who have reason to come over here and use them. All of it's accessible to students. They're heavily used by students, and in fact we offer courses on how to use these instruments for students whose research is going to take them in this direction. So this is one of our biology research labs, and there are several interesting features of these new labs in the new building. The lab we're in right now is a laboratory that is heavily involved in botanical medicine research. So they are looking at extracts from these ancient Chinese remedies that and we're getting extracts. We're collaborating with the Guangxi Botanical Garden there in China, and they are sending us extracts from these plants, and it's up to us to separate them, to test the biological activity of the pure compounds that are in these complex mixtures that come from the plants, and to figure out which of the chemicals in these plants might be the ones that are actually responsible for the medicinal activity. This is a collaboration that goes on in the biology department, but also involves chemists upstairs, as we'll see later on. So one of the other nice facilities of the building is the write-up spaces and the informal learning spaces and the way students can use these spaces. They can use the whiteboards. These are floor-to-ceiling whiteboards, and you can see somebody's done their biochem homework here, it looks like, together. They also have some technology. We've got a flat panel display here mounted on the wall. Students can come and plug their computer in there and again work together in groups to maybe put the final touches on a presentation or something like that. This is our biochemistry laboratory, which is an upper division class that juniors and seniors would take. But it's pretty typical of a lot of the other teaching labs that we have in the building, both on the biology and the chemistry level. There are about 24 seats in each lab, and this lab has some special equipment that's really neat, that's specialized for biochemistry. It also has some neat features around the sides of the room. It's got flat panel displays on the walls, 5 of them, that allow students to gather around, bring their computers and do group work. They can plug in. And it's also set up that you can have a lecture in here, and the professor can take the output or the input from any of those flat panel displays and project it on the main projector for the entire class to see. And so the whole class can discuss the work that any one group is doing. Okay, so now we're back out in the atrium. It's a huge, beautiful space. And down here we can see what I call the mezzanine area. On that wall, there's a big projector screen that can come down. We have floor inputs here, and so we could line up seating here and use this for a seminar for special guests. In addition, there's outside seating there for the students.
Thank you again, Dr. Van Patten, for giving me a tour of this absolutely incredible new science building. I think that the MTSU Science Department has some great things coming down the road.
Now let's talk biology. Professor Brian Robertson explains the focus of his lab research, which looks at issues such as how microbes can be used in industrial products like ethanol in biofuels or for pharmaceuticals. Meanwhile, biology professor Elliot Altman and his team are pursuing fascinating possibilities in the Tennessee Center for Botanical Medicine Research, studying plants used in traditional Chinese medicine. This center is identifying promising plant extracts that could show anti-cancer properties and that could lead to pharmaceutical breakthroughs in the future. Let's take a look.
My name is Brian Robertson. I'm a faculty member in the biology department here at MTSU. My research lab is primarily focused on improving and using microbes to produce industrially important products. Not just producing them themselves, but also figuring out ways to make them better at what they do and using them for eventually producing things like biofuels or pharmaceuticals or those sorts of things like that. My lab kind of approaches this from 3 different angles. Part of my lab looks into biological rhythms of these microbes. We're figuring that if you can align them so that they cooperate and behave at the same time in the same way, you can optimize productivity for harvesting the protein or the product that you want from that at certain key times when it's most efficient for them to make it. Another strategy that my lab investigates is to use bioluminescence as a way to tell within the cell what's happening at the genetic level. And the third thing that my lab focuses on, we're also looking into biofuels, both cellulosic ethanol production, hydrogen production from algae and photosynthetic bacteria for making fuels or making other products that the industry has dictated has a benefit to humanity.
I'm Elliot Altman, and I'm the director of the Tennessee Center for Botanical Medicine Research, or TCBMR for short. The purpose of the center is to isolate products for pharmaceuticals, nutritional supplements that are safe and non-toxic. And one of the best examples of those types of products come from the plants that are used in traditional Chinese medicine. The center is interdisciplinary. There are currently 10 professors from the departments of biology and chemistry at MTSU that are working together. We've identified a number of promising extracts from plants with activity so far. We've identified potent anti-cancer, antiviral, antiprotozoal extracts. We've also identified extracts that have immunomodulator activities, which could be used to treat autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis. And we're currently working on purifying and characterizing the active compounds from those extracts. My laboratory has always been interested in applied research that can improve our quality of living, and in addition to the TCBMR research, we are also actively involved in metabolic engineering to produce natural products from microorganisms using fermentation approaches.
Would you like to prepare students for the future and carry on the legacy of your favorite teachers? Middle Tennessee State University education students explore proven instructional methods and discover innovative tools and approaches that are changing the way children learn. Our graduates' extensive student teaching experience makes them highly sought after by schools throughout the Southeast. This is just one community among many. Explore all that MTSU has to offer. Devoted to student success, Middle Tennessee State University. At Middle Tennessee State University, your love for biology can turn into a lifelong affair. In the classroom, you'll learn about life's building blocks, and in the field, you'll learn about life in a whole new way. Middle Tennessee's biology graduates have found amazing jobs in research, education, medicine, and so much more. This is just one community among many. Explore all that MTSU has to offer, devoted to student success. Middle Tennessee State University. At Middle Tennessee State University, students don't just earn a degree in an electronic media communications field. They get to learn, collaborate, and create. Middle Tennessee students get hands-on, real-world experience, and our graduates have found exciting jobs with some of the world's communication leaders. This is just one community among many. Explore all that MTSU has to offer. Devoted to student success, Middle Tennessee State University.
At Middle Tennessee State University, we are devoted to student success. We offer the advantages of a major comprehensive university with the care and attention found at a small college. We are a community that believes in learning, growth, and service. We hold these values dear, and there's a simple phrase that conveys them.
I am true blue.
I am true blue.
I am true blue.
Welcome back to this edition of Out of the Blue. I'm your host, Chris Davis. Earlier, we touched on the biology research happening on campus. So now let's turn our attention to chemistry. MTSU's chemistry research includes the making of molecules and exploring their anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer properties, traits that may have useful medicinal applications. Among the research projects in the works, Professor Paul Klein, a biochemist, is exploring how proteins work, with the hopes of identifying medicinal or even agricultural purposes. Meanwhile, Professor Kevin Bicker, a bioorganic chemist, works in a lab that focuses on peptoids. The goal? Discovering peptoid uses for treatments such as breast cancer therapies. Watch as these researchers explain.
My name is Paul Klein, and I'm one of the chemists here at MTSU. I'm a biochemist, and so our lab is interested in determining how enzymes or proteins that make other compounds work. To that end, we purify a number of proteins. We then study these proteins to see how they work, what amino acids are important in their activity. We do this using various techniques including mass spectrometry, site-directed mutagenesis, kinetic studies. Our ultimate goal is to be able to inhibit the activity of these enzymes to ultimately act as either a drug to control a particular disease or to possibly act as an herbicide in the case of plant enzymes to control the growth of noxious plants, otherwise known as weeds.
My name is Kevin Bicker, and I'm a bioorganic chemist here in the Department of Chemistry at MTSU. My lab focuses on the development of libraries of compounds called peptoids, and we also work on the development of high-throughput screening methods so that we can screen these compounds. And we're interested in peptoids as therapeutics because they have really great properties. They're easy to synthesize in very large batches. They're really stable in the body, which makes them really useful therapeutics. And we're interested in combinatorial libraries because it allows us to make really large groups of potential therapeutics in a very short amount of time. Specific focuses of my lab include targeting a type of breast cancer called triple-negative breast cancer, which we're interested in because there are currently no good therapies for this type of breast cancer. And so we're trying to develop peptoids that could target a specific receptor on the cells of this type of cancer and hopefully result in cell death, with the ultimate goal of improving drug efficacy, reducing drug side effects, and ultimately improving patient outcomes. The second major focus of our research lab is in developing peptoid compounds as potential antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal compounds. And really the main focus, what's going on right now, is developing some methods where we can screen thousands of potential antimicrobial compounds in a matter of a day or two and identify the most potent antimicrobial compounds very, very quickly. And we can do this for just about any type of bacteria. And so we're really hoping to use this technology to revolutionize these fields and introduce some really useful therapeutics.
Let's wrap up our look at chemistry with two more efforts to discover ways of making matter work better. Assistant Professor Kai-Ying Ding is part of a research group studying graphene, a honeycomb-shaped collection of carbon-based atoms. Just down the hallway, Associate Professor Charles Chusoy works in a lab that analyzes carbon surfaces to make chemical sensors, as well as researches multiple uses of hydrogen peroxide. Watch as they explain the goals of their research.
My name is Dr. Charles Chusoy. I'm an Associate Professor of Chemistry. And what we do in this lab is we analyze the surfaces of solids. What we primarily do is manipulate carbon surfaces, all different types of carbon surfaces. And what we find is that when the morphological structure of these materials influence its chemical properties. And so we take advantage of that to make chemical sensors. And so what we find is that if we change the size and the shape of these materials, it will affect its electrochemical activity. And so a lot of the activities in my lab focus on that. We use a lot of wet chemical techniques. We sonicate things. We may do some reactions, very simple organic reactions using microreactors. So that's how we make our surfaces. And then what we do is we go and see how well they work by doing electrochemistry. We have a Faraday cage and an electrochemical cell. And when we find that there are differences in various properties, then we can surface characterize them. And what we find is that molecular scale or atomic scale structure affects their behavior. We've been able to detect hydrogen peroxide, which is important for, let's say, detecting the onset of food spoilage, certain oxidative stress diseases. The body, produces hydrogen peroxide as a byproduct. Certain cancers release hydrogen peroxide, so being able to diversify our ability to detect those, is useful in the healthcare field. And there's also some interest in using hydrogen peroxide as a replacement disinfectant in swimming pools, and so we have a way of dynamically measuring hydrogen peroxide levels as the concentrations increase and decrease. And we can look at dopamine, to look at neurotransmitters. We can detect, we can quantify certain dopamine levels in biological fluids or simulated biological fluids.
My name is Kei-In Ding, and I'm a chemistry faculty at MTSU. In our research group, we are working on two projects. The first one is synthesis of graphene and graphene-based metal catalyst for organic transformations. Graphene is used as a catalyst support owing to its excellent electrical and thermal conductivity and high surface area and mechanical strength. Graphene-based metal nanoparticles or graphene-based metal complex catalysts have been used mainly for photocatalysis and electrocatalysis. However, in our group, we are interested in applying those catalysts for other types of organic transformations, such as decarbonylation, hydrogenation, and cross-coupling reactions. This project eventually will allow us to extend graphene-based catalysts for other types of organic transformations, to extend their application for industrial applications as well. The second project is working on the synthesis of ruthenium complexes with bioactive molecules such as iron derivatives. We target on the characterization of these ruthenium complexes and their bioactivity screenings. The number of metal compounds used for clinic as anti-cancer agents is very limited and only focus on platinum metal exclusively. Ruthenium is a very promising replacement for platinum metal because ruthenium complexes is less toxic and could also target those platinum-resistant cancer cells.
At Middle Tennessee State University, your love for biology can turn into a lifelong affair. In the classroom, you'll learn about life's building blocks, and in the field, you'll learn about life in a whole new way. Middle Tennessee's biology graduates have found amazing jobs in research, education, medicine, and so much more. This is just one community among many. Explore all that MTSU has to offer, devoted to student success. Middle Tennessee State University.
At Middle Tennessee State University, we are devoted to student success. We offer the advantages of a major comprehensive university with the care and attention found at a small college. We are a community that believes in learning, growth, and service. We hold these values dear, and there's a simple phrase that conveys them.
I am true blue.
I am true blue.
I am true blue.
Science shapes our society. The products, technologies, and efforts of the sciences affect much of our everyday lives. And the more advances we make, the more the careers of tomorrow will rely on a strong education in the basic and applied sciences. At MTSU, you will learn from Tennessee's best faculty, along with hands-on training with the latest equipment and facilities. Come and learn the science of success.
Middle Tennessee State University's Department of Concrete Industry Management provides students with hands-on learning in the country's flagship concrete degree program. MTSU's vast alumni network and extensive internship opportunities lead students to high-paying jobs directly after graduation. This is just one community among many. Explore all that MTSU has to offer. Devoted to student success, Middle Tennessee State University.
Welcome back to Out of the Blue. We wrap up this edition with the Dean of MTSU's College of Basic and Applied Sciences, Dr. Robert Bud Fischer. When he arrived to campus less than 3 years ago, Dean Fischer was immediately immersed into preparations of the new science building opening. Since then, he has overseen successful transition to the new building and has also collaborated with faculty and staff about renovations to the Weiser Patton and Davis Science buildings. Dean Fischer, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You've been in this new science building now for almost 2 semesters. So how is everybody adjusting to the new space?
Well, it's been a great adjustment. The move in was as smooth as we could have possibly had it been, and the people who helped us do that were great. I will tell you that the faculty were able to move in 2 days. They were able to have their labs taken down in the old buildings and then moved and put up in the new buildings, and within a couple of days they were already doing research. So there was almost no stop in their productivity. Now, I think the good story is the story of the students. The students didn't know that they would be moving into the new building. They were, on their schedules, they were still seeing the old building until August 1st. If they ran a schedule after August 1st, it would show new science building. As you know, we opened about 4 months early. And when they walked in that first day into the new science building, they were in awe. Basically, they had no idea what to do. And what was even funnier is they couldn't find the rooms. So faculty, staff, and students spent a large amount of time leading people to the right rooms. But it took about 1 day for the students to turn that into their home. The next day, they were in there, shoes off, sitting in all the chairs, and since that time, it's become an intellectual community.
So how have the upgrades really enhanced research, the learning environment there in the building?
Well, I think the upgrades have done an incredible job at creating what I think is the best learning facility for science in Tennessee and probably the Southeast. When you look at it, we have put in 36 new labs, and those labs have been designed specifically for the type of teaching being done in each one of those labs. An example, the labs used for anatomy and physiology were designed specifically by the faculty to make sure that the learning environment was the right learning environment for students for anatomy and physiology. If you walk to the organic chemistry labs, they're designed differently by the faculty who do organic chemistry to enhance the learning environment. And that's rare in a building. Usually all the labs are built the same. We built them specifically to make sure that the students had the best environment possible. When you look at the research labs, what we've done are a few things that I think make us different than everybody else. One is we've gone to the large research labs where we create collaborative groups to work together. So no longer is science done by individuals, it's done by groups. And we've created labs where multiple faculty work along with their graduate students and undergraduates in teams to answer the big questions that are out there today. And associated with them are write-up rooms and lounges that give them, I think, the whole experience you would want for a collaborative group to be able to function.
And this new facility has to be attractive to new students, prospective students that are looking to come to MTSU. How will that really change the game for students that are looking for a science degree here in Tennessee?
Well, I guess we'll find that out this year as we go towards enrollment. But when I look at it, and I've taken a large number of tours through that building, what I see in most cases is awe or people saying, wow. They can't believe that a facility like this has been built not only in Tennessee but on MTSU's campus. And I think it positions us perfectly to be the leader for science, especially undergraduate science and what would be graduate science in the future in Tennessee.
When it comes to the new building, what impresses you the most?
We built this building, and this building is beautiful, but the building's only as beautiful as the things we put in it. We have great equipment in it. And I think what we really have that makes us different from everybody else is that we have incredible faculty. And the faculty in there have engaged in course redesign, in new research, and trying to get undergrads involved in that research. And I think that all together has made this building a huge success.
Sounds like you guys are doing some incredible things. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dean Fischer.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Out of the Blue. For more information on MTSU News, be sure to go to mtsunews.com. Until next time, stay true blue.